Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Just a quick reminder, Church Militant is on the ground in Rome, covering the Synod, bringing you every bit of what you need to know each day. Our Rome correspondent, Jules Gomez, reviews the day's happenings on Church Militant's Rome Dispatch, hosted here in Detroit by our own Brad Eli every day. We're providing a link to Rome Dispatch here in the Vortex every day for the month of October. So don't miss a single episode of Rome Dispatch. One-stop shopping for you each day on all the news from the Synod, concise and straightforward. Now, little by little, and occasionally, like November 3 years ago, big by big, the left advances relentlessly. And by the left, we mean specifically communism. It goes by those multiple names of globalism, socialism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it, but in the end, it's communism. And the latest showpiece for them, Poland. Yep, Catholic Poland, quickly on its way to becoming formerly Catholic Poland. When Pope John Paul was elected in 1978, almost the entire nation identified as Catholic, over 95%. But that was then, almost a half a century ago, while the nation was subjected to forced communism by the Kremlin and its puppet regime in Warsaw. Today, that number, 95%, has dipped significantly to just 70%. And while that's obviously a majority, you got to wonder, based on this past Sunday's election results for the Polish parliament, if there's a case of nominal Catholicism there, like all over formerly Catholic populations in multiple countries. The election results, which are still rolling in, indicate a measurable move away from conservative politics, a definitive shifting to the left. Remember, unlike here in the U.S., the parliamentary system largely relies on more than just two parties forming coalitions to seize a majority-type control. So while one party, in this case the Conservative Law and Justice Party, did get a plurality of votes, meaning the most cast for any single party, it did not get the majority. When you add together all the non-conservative, meaning left-leaning, meaning pro-socialist, that coalition won the majority of seats. And that is a political earthquake in Poland. Yes, they will have policy differences amongst themselves, the lefties, just like the Democrats here in the U.S. do. But make no mistake, they are in total lockstep with each other when it comes to their worldview. What divides them is tactics, not ideology. And once all the dust has settled in Poland as the parties jockey for power, what will emerge is a ruling coalition of the left. It may not be a giant ruling power yet, but it's heading that way. In fact, it was best summed up over the weekend by leaders of the new left who said, quote, "There can be no government without the left wing." And the most important takeaway, a political party exists in order to win power, and by exercising power to turn its dreams into reality. Are you listening, my fellow Americans? Even in Poland, what may now need to be considered formerly Catholic Poland, the commies are on the march. Talk about not learning a lesson from history. Under communist occupation, the persecuted people of Warsaw and the country had a motto, "In the name of God, for our freedom and yours." Yeah, like they believed in God. What is it now? For the commie globalists and their godless world domination? When Joseph Stalin took control of Poland after World War II, it was through brutality and international political cooperation. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Poland went through a post-communist period, but true to form, those commies have come back. None of the previous Marxist overlords were put on public trial and executed for their crimes of subjugation of a people, even if it was their own people. See, the communists never actually went away. It was the Soviet Union, as we've said many times here, that collapsed, not worldwide communism. That merely morphed and injected itself into the political fray, running as such things as so-called green parties in various countries in Europe. Here in the U.S., they invaded the Democratic Party and used our system to seize control, just as they are now doing in Poland. Of course, what Catholics should be primarily concerned about, Catholics, is soon to be the threat against the faithful. We shouldn't fall into the trap of thinking that it will be some splendid romantic period of great numbers of martyrs, at least not proportionally. The martyrs of the Roman persecutions were the exception, not the rule. In fact, whenever the people are faced with a choice, they almost always vote to save their own butts first. So they go along. Just look at Reformation in England if you need a case example. Not only did the people fold under the persecution of Henry and eventually Elizabeth, his daughter, but the entire exodus of apostasy was led by the bishops. Sound familiar? The communist movement has made itself as clear as any force in history that its goal is world domination through democratically elected governments' political processes. Once you vote them in, as the saying goes, the only way out is to shoot your way out. It's as clear as crystal that the world is careening towards something huge, something colossal. There are simply too many forces all converging for something foundation-altering not to happen. You can feel it in your bones. Unfortunately, just as while the English Reformation, too many Catholic clergy have been a part of this forming hurricane, leading countless laity with them. In many countries, in fact, including America and Poland, as records now show, the Church has been the primary target of the commies, first corrupting the moral life of Catholics, and now their sense of social justice. Exit polls from Poland reveal that huge numbers voted for the left because they promised economic justice for the elderly and so forth. It's the same playbook in country after country with these commies. Free everything to get power, then let the killings begin. America, of course, has an election in slightly more than a year. It's time for us to all hold our collective breath and really start praying. Because if this one is lost, it's game over. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.